was 24 years old, sitting in my car on a dark side street, waiting for my husband to come out of the adult store. I had these crazy butterflies in my stomach, and I couldn't tell if it was anticipation or complete dread. Being raised a missionary kid, watching porn videos was not something that I did on a regular basis, much less buy them. But my husband had convinced me that it would be good for our marriage. And I, wanting nothing more than to feel his love and validation of me, had conceded. You see, I was the one who fell head over heels for him back in the day. It was unrequited love at first. I remember sitting around with a bunch of our high school friends, and I kept sneaking glances over at him, hoping for him to see me, to notice me. And a couple of times I saw him kind of looking at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he sees me. When all of a sudden, in a really loud, annoyed voice, he looks right at me and says, "What do you keep looking at?" Yes, I sobbed in my car all the way home. But when I got home that night, I wrote a song about him. We could be that picture in my room. I could be the bride and you the groom. Because I had this picture hanging in my room of he and I together at a wedding. I was the flower girl in my white little dress, and he was the ring bearer in his cute little tux, and I wanted nothing more in life than to be that picture hanging in my room. I wanted to be married to him, chosen by him. I wanted him to want me and to love me. Well, eventually, he did come around. We got married when he was 19 and I was 20 years old. And about 4 years into our marriage, he confessed that he had been addicted to pornography ever since we got married. And shortly after that, he asked me to watch it with him. Well, I didn't want to, but I thought, if I do this for him, he'll be satisfied, and we can go on living our happy life. And yet he wasn't satisfied. He then wanted me to go to a strip club with him. Well, I didn't want to, but I thought, if I do this for him, he'll be satisfied, and we can go on living our happy life. And yet he wasn't satisfied. He then wanted to involve other people into our sexual relationship. I didn't want to. But again, I thought, if I do this for him, maybe it will be enough. Maybe I will be enough. He'll be satisfied, and we could go on living our happy life. But I discovered that there are certain things that break a person. And that broke me. I knew that I needed to leave this man that I had loved since I was a child. And even though it caused me the worst pain that I've ever felt, I let him go. I learned so many things in my 14 years of marriage. I learned that there's a huge difference between love and attachment. And I also learned that true freedom begins when we start to focus on changing ourselves instead of on trying to change or control any other human being. I came up with this formula because truly that is the million-dollar question. How do we change ourselves? How do we go from being insecure to confident? How do we go from being full of fear to this brave warrior of a person? I've had a little bit of experience with working on changing this human being right up here. And this little simple formula that I've come up with is called the ACA formula. And no, It is not the Affordable Care Act, has nothing to do with Obamacare or health care. It stands for awareness, choice, and action. 3 steps that if we can remember these 3 steps, we can move through our life changing and growing as we go. A, for awareness, has to be the first step because we cannot change something that we don't even know is a problem. So many times we hold these beliefs and fears and just crap, honestly, in our subconscious, and we're not even aware that these fears are dictating and controlling our entire life. So we have to bring that up from our subconscious into our conscious mind, the knowingness of who we truly are. It comes in layers, this awareness, I've realized. Shortly after my divorce, one thing that I became aware of was that I was living in complete fear. I did a hypnotherapy session where I literally saw all the fear inside of myself. There was no safe place to go to. So I realized I'm full of fear. I'm basing my decisions based on this fear. That was one layer. Then the next layer was I realized, oh my gosh, I am addicted to people pleasing, to doing things for everybody else so that I could feel good about myself. Not because I'm such a nice person, although back in the day, before I was aware, I thought, look at me, everybody. I am such a nice person. I will do anything for anybody at any moment, at any time. And that was the level of awareness to go, Janice, no, that is actually selfish of you to do that, and you are manipulating. You are lying to people by saying yes when you want to scream no. That was that level of awareness. For you, it might be having an awareness that you're blaming everybody else around you instead of looking within. Maybe it's an awareness that you are continuing on some family patterns of behavior that no longer serve you. Or maybe that anger and bitterness is controlling your life. But the first step is to do some deep introspection to become aware. The second step is choice. Once you become aware that you're stuck in fear, possibly, making a choice to move forward through and out of that. I would love for you guys to play along with me, if you're game, and we are going to access our imaginations. Now, our imagination is a underutilized, so important tool that we have in our tool belt that we need to get more comfortable using. So if you don't mind playing along, would you please close your eyes, take a very deep breath in, and exhale all that air out. And I want you to imagine that you are on your deathbed. You know you don't have much longer to live, and you have some time to think about your life. You walk into this movie theater where there are 2 different showings, 2 different replays of your life. You walk into theater A, and I want you to sit down in those big, comfy chairs, look up at the big screen, and all of a sudden you see a movie of your life playing. There you are, the star of your life. But wait a minute. You feel this sense of dread. And as you look at the screen, you see yourself with your shoulders hunched forward. You see yourself with this 1,000-pound weight on your back, or at least that's what it feels like. You see these opportunities come up throughout your life that you say no to because you are so scared of the unknown. You're so scared of rejection that you stay small. You feel depressed. You feel anxious, not good enough. Now, I want you to stand up out of that chair, and I want you to walk across the way to Theater B. Sit down in this big, comfy chair in Theater B and look up at the big screen. Now you start to see this replay of your life showing. But in this movie, oh my gosh, you see yourself running through a field of wild flowers. You are smiling, you are laughing, you are so carefree. You feel weightless and light and confident. You see yourself walking through your fears, doing things that scare you, but then feeling so accomplished and amazing afterwards. You feel free, fulfilled, and fabulous. Go ahead and open your eyes. That's the choice. That is the choice that each of us get to make on a daily basis. Which replay of our lives do we want to look back on when we're on our deathbeds? What do you choose for yourself? So once you gain that awareness of where you're stuck, of where you need to move forward, and you make the choice that, yes, I am going to step forward. Yes, I am going to do those things that scare me. I am going to heal those emotional wounds. I am going to face my demons. The last step, the most fun step, taking action. Messy action. I am all about messy action. Screw perfectionism. As long as we take action, walk through our fears, you can't lose. You cannot lose in this life if you take action. So for me, after my divorce, when I had all this awareness of fear controlling my life and people pleasing, I thought, okay, I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to take action, and I'm going to do one terrifying thing at least once a year. So one year, I ran a marathon because I felt like that was impossible to do. The next year, I joined Toastmasters, and I started speaking publicly and sharing my story. The next, I self-published a memoir because I was carrying some secrets that were poisoning my soul. The next year, I decided, I'm going to compete in a bodybuilding competition because I have body image issues, and I want to move straight through those. The next year, I did a stand-up comedy routine because holy crap, stand-up comics are freaking amazing. That is hard to do that and make people laugh and feel joyful. And this year, this stage. And the truth be told, the only reason why I tell you that is because I have such a deep desire that every single person that walks this earth walks in freedom, in peace, walks authentic to who they are truly meant to be. So for you, I encourage you, take that cooking class, go back to school, go skydiving, ride that motorcycle, make a new friend, heal your emotional wounds, live big, open your heart, open it bigger. Imagine again, there you are on your deathbed. You are absolutely sure you have a couple breaths left to take in this life. You can hear your family around you talking about you, about the impact that you made in each of their lives, about how they can't wait to go out and live their life fully. You look over at your grandchild who is standing next to you, squeezing your hand. You look up and say, darling, it's your turn now. You close your eyes. You are home at last. Thank you.